Yes, it's the final week of October, which means we have the World Series, college football, the NFL, NHL action, the NBA, UFC, soccer, and let's not forget about that college basketball right around the corner. Since we're almost obliged to have a Halloween commercial, let's make it a scary good one. Until midnight on October 31st, no costume is required to get a 31% discount on one all-access package of your choice at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo using coupon code BOO31 at checkout. This coupon will save you over $12 on a one-day all-access that includes any 5% plays. And it'll also save you over $18 off a 3-day all-access. Or why not go big and save over $90 off a 30-day all-access? Or perhaps take over business for the next year by saving over $600 with a 12-month all-access package. Coming out to just $3.77 per day for the next 365 days. Coupon code BOO31 expires at midnight on Halloween. But remember to use it wisely, as this coupon can only be used once at WagerTalk and once at Sports Memo. From my friend and I, happy Halloween.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I am Lawrence Presman. That handsome old guy is Teddy Covers. And you're watching the best daily sports betting show on the planet. And, Teddy, we got a great show lined up. Fill us in, my brother.
Who do we have? We have Meghan Payton to open up the show. She's going to talk a little Monday Night Football Prop Central. She'll give us a handful of props for the Monday Night Football game tonight. Bryan Leonard going to join us second. Bryan is going to talk a little Las Vegas, Jacksonville in the NFL, and Toronto and Atlanta in the NBA. Drew Martin's going to close out the show. Tennessee, Georgia, Texas Tech, TCU, a pair of college football breakdowns. And in my big game breakdown today, we will also talk a little NBA action. The Clippers look to bounce back against the Rockets. That's the show set up for Monday, Prez.
We got the daily presidential address going today, but we're going to do something different. Dan, can you come on the screen?
Yo, I mean, I don't know if I can get myself on the screen.
So anyway, Dan's got really, really super long hair. It goes down to like right around here, and it's his pride and joy.
It is.
If we get 150 likes today, I'm going to give you a football winner. And if it loses, Dan tomorrow is going to cut all his hair off live on this show.
When did we agree
What do you
to
think,
this?
Dan? What do you think?
I didn't know I agreed to this, but apparently it's happening.
No, I just want you to cut your hair, man. You'd look so much better. But anyway, come on. The hair cutting pick. Anyway, Teddy, I had a great day yesterday, man. I went 5-2 in my NFL plays, and I went 2-0 in my NBA plays, so a nice 7-2 day. I lost on the Raiders. They just did not show up. I mean, I think they thought the game was today. And the under in Carolina, Atlanta, both of those guys, I mean, they had an offensive orgy. Talk about a bad freaking pick. Anyway, I got to ask you, man, and we're going to bring Meghan in 2 seconds. Do you know offhand, have you done, I want to know your top 2-3 teams in your power poll and your bottom 2-3 teams as we move forward into the NFL season. Do you know them offhand, or have you not done it yet?
No, I've got the NFL opening line report at the top of the hour. So you know my NFL work is always done before we get on the show. Congrats on a big day yesterday. I got my ass kicked yesterday, which really frustrating day. I won on Thursday, won on Friday, won on Saturday, finally had some momentum, and then yesterday just shat the bed, unfortunately, and the client's not happy on a Monday morning. Nonetheless, at the very top of the power ratings, and this is coming off the top of my head. I don't have them open in front of me. If you want, I'll open the window. But I've got Buffalo number 1, KC number 2, Philly number 3, Dallas number 4. At the bottom, I think I have Houston dead last, the Lions not far above them, and I don't remember who I have the next. I can open the window.
Okay. I want to ask you.
Why do you ask, Lawrence?
Well, I want to ask you also, I want to ask you about Jacksonville, because this is a team that you have really been quite infatuated with, if you will. You had him for your clients yesterday. You had him the week before. I have admittedly jumped off of the Denver bandwagon, and strangely, I would have gone 2-0. How ironic is that? Are you now done with Jacksonville for a little while?
Sure, we've made the appropriate adjustment in our power ratings that will keep us off the Jags this coming week.
Okay.
The adjustment's been made.
But Teddy covers.
Look, how far is Jacksonville? I mean, do you want to get into it? Because it's Monday. We're on a tight show, but the last 3 games in a row, the Jags have been 1 play away from winning.
Yes.
1 play away in all 3 games. And when you have a team that's this close, you don't want to over-adjust them downward, right, when they're about to start winning games, but you don't want to under-adjust to a team on a 5-game losing streak that keeps finding ways to lose games. So it's kind of where do you put the Jags in that regard?
Yeah, listen, if we have time later on, we'll talk a little Green Bay. I'm fascinated, and I'm curious whether you think they might be a bye team moving forward. Meghan Payton joining us. Meghan, anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to add to what we've discussed?
Yeah, I mean, Jacksonville's, just speaking specifically on them, they're a hard team, I think, to really figure out. I haven't really been trending upwards with Jaguars. I haven't seen too much out of them that I'm absolutely loving. You look at the AFC South as a whole. I mean, how about Tennessee? They're kind of hot right now. And Derrick Henry's looking a little bit like what we've seen in past years. And I don't think it's going to change much. I was looking at the opening line for Chiefs-Titans, 11.5, I believe is what it was at for the Chiefs. That to me is a little bit high. I mean, I don't care if it's Malik Willis or Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I haven't done too much research yet on this game, but I kind of like Tennessee and where they're heading when we just look at the AFC South.
I felt the same way, Meghan. When I looked at the lines last night, I thought to myself, man, anytime I can get a team that can run the ball until, eternity, I'll take more than a touchdown. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got some prop bets for us tonight. Mike is yours, and then Teddy will ask you his follow-ups.
Well, look, it's Bengals-Browns. This one is a difficult game to figure out because in one aspect, the Bengals are trending upwards. They've won 2 straight. Joe Burrow looks amazing. He's on a hot streak right now. And the Browns look like one of the worst teams in football, 4 straight losses in a row. But you've got to just look at the stats for a sec because Joe Burrow is 0-4 against the Browns in his career. Now, the last time they played, it was in January. The Bengals rested their starters, but he's 0-3 against them. I still think Bengals win this game, so I'm going to take some player props to back up that prediction. My first one's going to be running back Joe Mixon over 94.5 rushing and receiving combined. I think in order for the Bengals to win this game, we're going to have to see a big game out of Mixon. He's going to need to get involved in the passing game. It's a big loss without wide receiver Jamar Chase out there. That's why I'm taking the combined yards here. I mean, we know that the Browns' run defense is terrible. They're 25th in the league, so I expect Mixon to easily get involved in the run game. But Joe Burrow is going to be comfortable throwing the ball to Mixon. I like over 94.5. He hit 91 combined yards last week, and I expect with Chase out this week, that number should go up. And sticking with the Bengals, number 2, I'm going to take Joe Burrow over 15.5 rushing yards. Joe Burrow is so good. He's probably one of my most favorite players to watch right now. He had nearly 500 passing yards against the Falcons. I know that has nothing to do with his rushing yards, but it just seems like Burrow can do anything right now. He had 20 rushing yards last week, 25 the week prior, 15.5 against this Browns run defense. Easy. So I like that for the over. And then if we have to flip over to Browns, I'm going to look at under 9.5 rushing attempts for running back Kareem Hunt. What do we know right now about Hunt? All the trade rumors. They're talking about yesterday. It broke that the Browns are saying, hey, you know what? We'll listen to your trade request. We'll let you go. We'll kind of search the market, see what you're worth. They want a 4th round pick, I believe, for Hunt. And look, when a team is in that mindset, I don't think that they're playing him much right now. I think that they're going to be looking at ways. Obviously, Nick Chubb is their number 1 back, but I think we might see Dearness Johnson out there a little bit. And Kareem Hunt has just not been a part of this offense recently. He had 5 carries last week, 4 carries the week prior. This number is going to stay around there if he even plays much at all this week. I think he's out of there by the time the trade deadline hits. So I'm taking the under on 9.5 rushing attempts.
Is that a widely available number right now on Kareem Hunt? Because you talked about what he's done the last couple of weeks, not really a factor in the offense. You talk about how he's on the trade block. To me, that seems like a mistake number. Is that number going to hold, that 9.5 rush attempts?
Last I checked, I mean, I saw it on BetMGM. I believe I got it at 9.5. So maybe if they're smart, I'd say we'd start seeing it go down a little bit. Because to me, I looked at that and was like, that's a no-brainer. Do you really think he's going to get more than 4 or 5 carries?
Well, yeah, that's one of those where it's like the number to me seems not just a little bit off; it seems way off.
We can check right now too, just make sure.
Yeah, Megan, at the largest sports book in the world, they do not have a number up for him at all. But
that would make sense that they're taking it off. This was, I'd say, around 5 a.m. Pacific time that I got this on at BetMGM. So maybe in the last 2 hours they've taken it off.
Why were you awake at 5 a.m. Pacific time?
I was too excited about the show.
Oh, yeah.
I was too excited.
Megan. Good. Yeah.
I was getting ready. I was, drinking my coffee, taking my notes, and betting Kareem Hunt under 9.5 attempts.
Megan wakes up a man and then spends 7 hours becoming Megan. 5 a.m. Whoa. Teddy, what was
Pacific time? She's on the East Coast. I was up at 5 a.m. this morning, Prez. I'm up at 5 a.m. a lot.
Yeah.
No, Megan.
Not all of us
Megan's
sleep
not
till
on
11,
the East
like
Coast. Megan, you're not on the East Coast.
5 a.m. not East Coast time. 5 a.m. Pacific time. I'm here in LA, and so it's not that. Yeah. That's how you got to get. I guess the Kareem. I'm looking right now, making sure that this isn't on here. That's crazy.
It's a legitimate 5 a.m. Teddy, you wake up at 5 a.m.
Not every day. I don't wake up at 5 a.m. When I get my ass kicked on a Sunday, and I tend to wake up pretty early the next morning.
Megan, Dan just said in our ear that you can find that prop at BetMGM, so it is out there. Anything else to discuss?
I mean, I think that's a no-brainer. Lock that in. This game's going to be fun to watch. I love that it's 2 orange teams. I don't know why I just realized that last night. So I'm all about like the Halloween spirit. I like Bengals to win this game, but it is kind of tricky. Joe Burrow's going to need to have just as big of a game as he had last week in order to break that losing streak against the Browns.
Meghan Payton, everyone. You can see her on the NFL Presidential Address every week, and on this show every single Monday. Teddy, we're lucky to have her. Your B6, my brother. One of my favorite segments of the week. The mic is yours.
Let's get into it. A little bad beats, bad bets, and bad for the books. A recap of what just happened this past weekend. And I mean, I suppose I should lead off with Penn State, Ohio State on Saturday in terms of bad beat-wise. And yet, it didn't end up being a bad beat because Penn State went through the back door. But if you had a Nittany Lions ticket and you're up 21-16 in the fourth quarter, and then you watch it go 23-21, and then 30-21, and then 37-20, and then, oh my goodness, Penn State ends up coming through the back door after giving up the late, was it fumble 6 or pick 6 in a game that they had led earlier in the fourth quarter. TCU against West Virginia. Look, TCU, they're up 3. There's 30 seconds left. They're on the 20-yard line. 4th and 1, up 3. Dude jumps off sides. Perfect. First down, take a knee. But the smart quarterback, Dugan, knew it was a free play and ended up chucking it into the end zone. The wide receiver catches it. They win by 10, not by 3, not by 6. Ouch for Mountaineers backers. Houston, minus 17.5 against South Florida. They lead by 3 touchdowns. The clock's running out. A long Cougars drive into the red zone. They're going to run out the clock. That led to another score, and they won by 4 touchdowns. But the holding penalty, they end up getting stopped on 4th down. USF gets one last drive, 67 yards, get the backdoor touchdown to only lose by 15. Another holding penalty, Toledo, Eastern Michigan, great for underbettors. Instead of 24-20, it's 24-24, and the game's going to go over. Instead, it's 24-20 after the hold and then the field goal attempt. And now the team with the lead is playing slow down, keep away, 24-24. 27 final stays under the total. Last but not least, on Saturday, Arizona State minus 13 at Colorado. They're up 42-20 in the fourth. Give up one touchdown, no big deal. They're still covering until the Jordan Tyson 88-yard punt return touchdown to cut the lead to 8, minus 13. No good for the Sun Devils. On Sunday, I don't know which way to call the bad beat in Carolina, Atlanta. Look, it was a bad, really bad beat if you had the Panthers +4 at the end of the game, because they got set up in Atlanta, field goal with 40 seconds left because they had timeouts left, a 3-point lead turned into a 6-point win. Except for that, with 40 seconds left, Carolina got the big play touchdown, and they missed extra point to win. So which is the bad beat? The Panthers money line, the Falcons minus? I don't know. Bottom line, Carolina missed the field goal and overtime to win as well. 32-yarder. That's a tough beat if you had the money line. Big time. Bad bets. If you bet over in Miami, Virginia on Saturday, let's see, 46.5 up to 48.5. 4 overtimes in that game. 14-12 final. The game's that offensive football back for decades. And yes, the total did get bet up. Rice was as high as minus 17 against Charlotte. Charlotte fired their head coach, and then they won straight up by 5 touchdowns. Rice was never in the game. The fired head coach theory working very well again this past weekend. Everybody had Kentucky pros and Joes plus 13 down to +1.5. Tennessee blew them out before halftime in that one. Certainly the Kentucky money bad bets. The Raiders took money at the Saints, complete no-show. I think that was the biggest no-show I've seen from any team all year. Vegas yesterday in New Orleans. They lost 24-0. It wasn't that close. That was a bad bet. The Rams took money against the 49ers. They led at the half and got dominated after halftime. That was a bad bet. When it comes for bad for the books, Notre Dame opened as a dog, closed the favorite. They beat Syracuse by 2 touchdowns on Saturday. Sharp money on Louisville against Wake. That was bad for the books. Missouri took a bunch of sharp money against South Carolina, both outright upsets by double-digit margins. Wise guy money on Arizona almost at UFC. Kansas State opened the dog, closed the favorite. They beat Oklahoma State 48-0. That wasn't good for the house. Michigan State middled on 22. It bounced between 21 and 23 all week at various books. Plus 21.5, plus 22, plus 22.5 at kickoff. And, of course, the Wolverines win exactly by 20.
Teddy covers. Teddy covers just froze everybody. I should be the guy freezing. I'm in Toronto. And we're getting there. It's getting cold. Bryan Leonard joining us. Bri, how are you, my friend? How was your weekend?
Everything is fine, although I did lose an NBA play yesterday, which hurts. But, 1-1 in the NFL yesterday. Been on a nice 15-5 run of the NFL. Everything's going really well. And I was surprised when Meghan put out that play on Hunt. I'm surprised we even had a show after that, because that's the best bet I have heard on this show since you've been doing it. If that number's really out there, because I really don't think he's going to play at all, because the trade deadline's tomorrow and they've already said that he's going to be leaving, why even put him in the game, a chance of getting him hurt? So if you've got that BetMGM account, load it up. We can't do it in Vegas. Teddy and I are unfortunate in that regard. But if you have that in your state, that is the best bet that I have seen in a long time.
Bryan Leonard, everyone. And Bryan, what an outstanding start to the hockey season for you. Dude, you're like 6 years into being a hockey fan / bettor. Do you think you not growing up watching hockey has helped your betting?
That is the strangest thing. I've been doing NBA for like 45 years, and I got my start in the NBA. And I didn't even handicap hockey till Vegas got a team, and I got season tickets. I said, well, I'm going to all the games. I've always enjoyed it, but I grew up in Cleveland. We didn't have a professional team. And so I've been handicapping it for 6 years. I'm the number 1 handicapper the last 5 years, number 2 this year, number 2 last year. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because people who have handicapped for a long time get things in the back of their minds, and they say, I remember when this happened. I can't do that. It just blows me away how I've had so much success on something that I have not handicapped for nearly as long. Makes me wonder if I should start handicapping other sports like cricket and soccer and all these other things that I know nothing about.
Right.
to see if I'll have better success. Maybe it's something like you've been doing hockey since you were a kid, probably, and maybe it's something that we have in the back of our heads that shows what maybe too much knowledge. I don't know, but it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that it is. Listen, let's get into some actionable info, and then we do have a promo for you that Carmine sent me that they created on Puck Time. So Vegas this weekend is going into Jacksonville, and this is initially my reaction is shocking line, but then I remembered that I was on Vegas yesterday, and maybe it's not a shocking line. Josh McDaniel clearly does not have the chops to be a head coach, nor does Sheldon Keefe, by the way, but that's a whole different freaking story. Bri, my initial reaction is Vegas has to be the bet here, but then Teddy, points out Jacksonville's lost, a few games on the last play, and Jacksonville is clearly heading in the right direction as a culture and a team. Vegas not. I don't know what to do here, but my initial gut reaction is Vegas all day long.
This has got to be, and Teddy kind of pointed this out, where Vegas was the no-show team. Vegas has got to be the team this week that has more to prove than anybody in the league. They're sitting at 2-5.
I agree.
They came into the season expecting to be a contender. From a talent standpoint, Vegas has a lot of talent, especially on offense. They haven't put it together. They looked great last week against Houston and a couple late scores. They didn't do a thing this week. It's like they overlooked the game, didn't practice for the game. You're right. The head coach has even come out, before with the press conference, and he said, "This is all on me. I got to get this team better." The greatest thing from a spot point is they're staying in Sarasota. They're not coming back to Vegas. So you got a team off their first shutout loss in 8 years.
Yeah.
A quarterback who looked terrible yesterday. They're not coming home. So they don't have all that negativity. They're out in Sarasota where they can just practice, get ready for this team. And I expect Vegas to come out with their best showing of the year. And Vegas has had some tough losses. I mean, we remember the Jets game earlier in the season. They've had teams that they've had beat, and they haven't been able to win.
Kansas City, Bri.
Kansas City. They were a better team
but
that
that
day,
was
I thought.
bad coaching, right? I mean, to me, I watched that game, and I felt Josh Daniels deserved the L on that scenario. Teddy covers, you're back, my brother.
I'm not sure if I am or not.
You are, dude.
Teddy's a little depressed today.
So, Teddy, to give you
really.
just to get you back in on track, Brian likes Vegas against Jacksonville. Makes a ton of sense. This is a team that was embarrassed, humiliated, spanked with nipple clamps on an iron cross on Sunday. Do you have anything to add to the Vegas Jacksonville game?
Sure, and of course Vegas staying back east as well, which means they're not doing the cross country and then back cross country and then cross country again. But it feels like I'm freezing.
You're freezing again. We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep moving the show on. Brian, the Raptors.
Let me finish off the rest of my handicap there. We talked about staying in Sarasota. I would think for the Vegas, but Jacksonville is returning from London. Now, in the past, they used to have that 1 week off. Last year, they came back and they played the first week back. That's a definite negative. We've talked about this, and so many people have talked about what the travel overseas does to your body. It takes, 3 days for every 1 day for every hour of time zone. This is a team who's really going to struggle here. And Jacksonville did not come into the season with high expectations. They came into the season with an actual coach. And that's why they're so much better this year than they were in the past. This is a do or die situation for Vegas. You couldn't ask for a better spot. Staying on the road helps them. I expect this line to go up as the week goes on. Give me Vegas.
I love it. I am so with you on this pick. The Raps, Well, they were -4 hosting Atlanta. Now they're -3, Bry. Where are you going in this game?
Yeah, this line's been bet up and down all morning. I prefer the home team here in Toronto, just from a scheduling standpoint. This Atlanta team, they made the big trade in the offseason, bringing in another guard. And when those two work together, the two guards, they've been great. Problem is, when they're not on the court at the same time, they've been very poor. And that's the situation so far. But when you take a look at the schedules this year, and this is something the NBA has done this year that I like, is they let teams play back-to-back games in the same city. Atlanta played in Detroit on the 26th. They had the 27th off, and they played again on the 28th. So I love how that cuts down on a lot of the travel in the NBA. They're coming off that game on Saturday. Atlanta had that game against Milwaukee. Obviously, Milwaukee, a front runner to win coming out of the East. It took them to the wire. They had a nice lead in there. Milwaukee comes back late, wins that game by 8.
Yeah.
So now it's a situation for them where they're playing their third game in 4 days, and they're doing it on the road. When you take a look at Toronto, just from a scheduling standpoint here, Toronto has a much better schedule here. They played Miami on the road the 22nd and the 24th. That was last Saturday and Monday. Did not have to leave, so they had 2 games to game plan for Miami. Now they come home and they play Wednesday and Friday, 2 games against Philadelphia. So even though they played 4 games this week, they have only had the game planned for 2 different teams. Now they're at home for their 3rd straight at home. They've had days off. They haven't played since Friday. Now they're home for the 3rd straight time playing a team where they've had plenty of time, 2 days to prepare for going into today. The scheduling spot is tremendous for Toronto here. I think the way Toronto plays defense is going to hurt this Atlanta offense. Love this Toronto team. They're really good at. They got a lot of players that are in that mid-range where they can get into the passing lanes. Toronto's a defensive team.
Yeah.
Staying at home in Canada. We didn't even talk about the situation where Atlanta's got to go to Canada, go through customs. I know it's not the same as it is for a normal person going through customs, but still, that's something extra to add into it. So I like Toronto here, and for the line going down an extra point, that's even better for us.
Yeah, Brian, a couple of years ago, before COVID, I went to the airport. The Raptors were flying out. Yeah, their customs experience was very different to mine. I stood in line and waved. Bryan Leonard, 25 wins, 13 losses to start the hockey season, up 17% ROI already. As discussed, you've done this year in and year out. We do have a promo for you. It expires at midnight, guys. BL30. Bryan Leonard, BL30. You get $30 off of his 7-day all access. Don't be stupid. Go buy it. It's $9 Mondays. What do you got going for the clients?
Right now, I've got an NBA play up I really like, and it wasn't the one we talked about here. I like that one as well. I'll probably add that to the slate. But then I've got a couple hockey games. I'm deciding between the two to see what I like best. But yeah, it's been great. Number 1 in the NBA, number 2 in hockey this year. Great situation, and grab that package.
Bryan Leonard, everybody, what an outstanding job. Great to have him with us. Guys, I want to let you all know, look, I had a 7-2 day yesterday across all sports. I'm up profit in hockey. I'm up profit in baseball. I'm up profit in NBA, and I'm way up profit in NFL. My college football has literally been break even every single week. It's the craziest year of college football. I go like 2-2 every single Saturday. It's a baffling, but I'm not crushing anyone. It's the one sport I'm not up in, but I am rolling across the board. It is $9 Mondays. I have 3 hockey plays tonight. They're $9. I have 2 NBA plays tonight. They're $9. I have 1 baseball play. It's $9. Teddy's back. No commercial break. Teddy, are you ready to do your big game breakdown?
I don't know. Am I?
Hey, dude, it's not like I can't cover for you. Teddy's big game breakdown, everyone.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk a little Monday night NBA action. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen right now, I'm seeing the LA Clippers minus 9.5, total 224 against the Houston Rockets. Clippers have been bad in recent weeks. All right, or recent games, I should say. Kawhi Leonard's not going to go again tonight. Paul George in a pretty nasty shooting slump. George went for 40 in their victory. And in the other 4 games this year, he's 14 points on 31% shooting. All right. They just got smacked, and I mean smacked, at home by the Pelicans. And you read some of the quotes after that game, John Wall. You know, the last 4 games, we've been down almost 20, like every game. We just got to find a way to tuck our pride and look ourselves in the mirror, even though it's still early, figure out what we could do best for this team, each individual. Paul George, we got to raise the intensity. It comes down to identity, who we're going to be. And with that, we've got to raise the intensity on both sides. It starts with me. I was poor on Sunday for the last couple of games. I got to get better. It starts with me. So certainly from a do we expect this team to show up today standpoint, we got to say yes. And their opponent, look, there are things to like about the Rockets. If you like young, athletic teams that can put the biscuit in the basket, Houston certainly has that potential. But they, too, are second of back-to-backs, coming off a game in which they gave a lot of intensity against Phoenix last night. It was a 5-point game, and they got run out the gym down the stretch the last 5 minutes. Pretty ugly for Rockets backers in that contest. No surprise that happens again here. Okay, teams that want to exert their will are going to take care of Houston. I know the Clippers haven't been good. The markets have devalued them right now. This is their spot. Lay it. Minus 9.5 is cheap with the Clips. In a game I think they're going to win by a blowout margin. Hey, lay the points with LA.
Teddy covers just froze again. Dan, let's not. Oh, there he is. He's back. Teddy, so I want to tell you something quick. Are you there? Shake your head, move, blink your eyes. Okay. So I'm watching NBA this weekend, Saturday to be exact, and it occurs to me that NBA most perfectly resembles the generation, this social media generation. NBA is the only sport where if you call a timeout, they reward you by moving the ball all the way up the court. In my day, if you called a timeout while working, you weren't getting rewarded. These workers call a timeout, they move the ball up the court. Then, when they miss a free throw, even if it's a crucial free throw to win the game, they high five and celebrate each other. So indicative of the youth today. And then at the end of the game, they all hug their mortal opponents, take their participation trophy, and head to the dressing room. Drew Martin, everyone. How are you, you handsome cat?
Hey, Lawrence Presman, always nice to be on with you on a Monday. Teddy covers as well. Interesting to hear your guys' breakdowns and your your angle on the NBA there. I can't disagree with you. It's I'll tell you this about the NBA. I think they're the best out there at marketing their product. Like if you just took the NBA and you were like, hey, how entertaining is this product? You'd be like, it's kind of entertaining. I don't think it's as entertaining as, say, the NFL, college football, even some other sports, UFC, but it's top of people's minds. People talk about it a lot. I think they're really good at marketing it. So that's how I kind of tip my cap to the NBA, Lawrence.
Zachary White writes, Grandpa Prez. Hey, Zachary, I'm dying to be a grandpa, man. I tell my 21-year-old all the time, go upstairs with your boyfriend and make me a grandpa. But in all seriousness, Drew, Teddy. It drives me freaking batty that these guys, it's like a tie game, 1 second left. They missed the free throw to win the game, but they high five each other. Really? Really? Anyway.
Okay.
Teddy,
so
anything to
if you're
add?
going to talk bad takes, I
There
missed
we go.
half show, but if you're gonna give bad takes, note that yesterday when Carolina's kicker missed the extra point and then missed the field goals, he too got high-fived coming off the field. So that's not just an NBA thing.
Fine.
The reason the NBA has the rule about timeouts is to make the last 5 seconds of the game more interesting. Okay, makes the game more competitive. That's what the rule is about.
Obviously,
it's a
that's
good rule, not a bad rule.
It's a horrific rule, but we know why it is like that. It is like that, yes, to create drama on that last shot. I get it. Imagine the drama that would be created if they would just move in the NFL, if they took a timeout with 3 seconds left, they moved them into 60-yard field goal position. So it's like a 40% chance they get it. That would be very dramatic too. Imagine if a person up 2-0 in tennis had to remove their right arm. Anyway, Drew Martin, Tennessee is playing Georgia, the game of the freaking year. I was on Kentucky this week with a lot of smart, stupid people. How is this one going to play out?
Well, I was one of those stupid people, Prez, and just hearing you say the word drama, and then you talking about wanting to be a grandpa, and now having to talk about Georgia, Tennessee, it's throwing me off a little bit, but I'm going to do my best here, guys. SEC East, if de facto title game here. I mean, the loser, I guess they're not mathematically out of it, but it's going to be tough to get to Atlanta in the SEC championship game. Great matchup. You know, who would have thought Tennessee would have been in this point? They're 7-1 against the spread as well, so in terms of mattering to sports bettors, they're doing it both straight up wise and against the spread. 2 8-0 teams here. Georgia hosting Tennessee, 3:30 CBS on Saturday. Yeah. Kind of first look at this game. I go back last year's game because remember, it was the same kind of administration here running this type of offense for Tennessee last year. Georgia did beat them 41-17. Now Tennessee's taken a big step up this season. They've surprised a lot of people. They've taken some of my money in terms of betting against them, Prez. So I'm starting to pump the brakes here. Georgia, we got to give them some credit, though. Defending national champions, really been able to do it on the defensive side against a lot of good offenses so far to date. Nobody as good as Tennessee. Overall, just kind of first looks at this game, comparing who they've played. I would go after Florida in that game. Georgia kind of beat down Florida, however, did not cover. Florida slipped through the back door against Tennessee. I think Tennessee is going to be able to move the ball. I really do, Prez. 65.5 being the total. Georgia, I don't know. This Tennessee defense has gotten a lot better. We got to give them some credit. But still, I think they're going to have a tough time stopping Georgia as well. Sidewise, I think it's really difficult. I think Georgia wins the game. However, laying the 8 and a hook, I'm not really interested in betting against Tennessee. But seeing this total, I think we get a high-scoring affair here, 65. At initial look, guys, I'd probably lean over 65.
Yeah, the 65s are disappearing. I'm seeing 65.5s and 66 out there on the WagerTalk live odds screen right now. So certainly the early money agrees with you, Drew. Here's my question. Georgia's defense, every bit as good as it was last year, even despite the loss of NFL talent. And Tennessee's offense didn't work against them last year. So why is it going to work against them this year?
I would probably point to the fact that Tennessee's offense is a lot better this season. And, you know, when you get that timing and you're rolling, sometimes, you know, it's the world of 2022. I remember football coaches talking about it. A perfect offense is not going to be stopped. And not that Tennessee's offense is perfect, but when you got that timing going, I don't know. I guess I would push back a little bit that is Georgia's defense really as good as it was last year? I don't think so. Maybe statistically it is to this point, but I don't see that same push on the defensive line that they would get last year. So maybe I'd point to that matchup, that Hooker in the backfield there, you know, as experienced as he is, he's 25 years old. I was pretty surprised by that. So the maturity there to kind of roll through the progressions, I would think he's just a lot better this season than he was last year, Teddy.
Drew Martin, let's move on. College football, more. Texas Tech plus 9.5 versus Texas Christian. Speaking of Texas, my 21-year-old moves to Houston tomorrow for the next 3 to 6 months. Don't know why that's relevant. Just wanted to add it. Drew, how's this game going to play out?
Well, okay, can I ask you a quick question first, Lawrence? Is this the 21-year-old that you want to make you a grandfather? Was that a real thing, or were you joking?
No, that's a real thing. She'll go into her room with her boyfriend, who they've been together for like a million years, and I'd be like, I'm standing outside the door, make me a baby. Yeah, no, wow. I'm the worst.
Yeah. No, that's one of those, I almost wish I could just be like the neighbor and nothing weird, but just like watch that go on. That is almost like cringeworthy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
No, good for you though.
I make no bones about it, Drew. It's nuts. It's creepy, but I want to be a grandpa.
Hey, I dig that. Yeah. All right, man. Hey.
Okay, TCU.
Do you? Yeah. Grow the family a little bit. 12 noon Eastern kick. I guess 11 a.m. Local time here, guys. Good game in the Big 12. 71 being the total. TCU minus 10-point favorites. Actually, it's pushing to 9.5 as we're talking, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen. So some money coming in on the dog. And Lawrence, that's the way I was actually looking in this. When you look at Texas Tech, I think if you're kind of doing a blimp views handicap, you'd see 4-4 and go, man, this Red Raiders team might not be all that good going up against 8-0 TCU, knocking on the door, being in the playoff. But I think this Texas Tech team is underrated. I really do, guys. Watching them on defense, they're not that bad. They got a top 5 offensive passing attack. They play 3 quarterbacks. I think 2 of them are a little bit better than the other guy, but, they kind of rotate in 3 different guys, all can run the offense. Top 20 total offense in the country. So just seeing them 500, they've had a couple kind of tough goes of it. And TCU, this stretch that they've been on, I mean, playing good team after good team there in the Big 12, going on the road to West Virginia. You can't just look at that score. I think they won by 10 points. It was sort of a bad beat for West Virginia, in my opinion. I thought West Virginia was the right side in that game, and TCU at the end was able to beat them. Plus, interesting note here, something that's kind of helped me in handicapping, watching injuries. Dugan, their quarterback, really good quarterback. I think should actually get more praise in the Heisman run. But if you noticed in the second half, he wasn't running, and their offense was a lot different. If he's not using his legs, if he's actually injured, he's not 100%, watch out for that, guys. That could actually be kind of like a sell high on TCU. So that's something I would watch here, guys. Maybe look towards the underdog, catching 10. Looks like most of those 10s are getting taken out, though. It looks like the market kind of agreeing with what I was seeing there. It's mostly 9.5s out there, but I would look towards the Red Raiders in this one.
So the markets seem to be betting against TCU every week now. We're seeing sharp money against TCU. My question for you is, here's a Horned Frogs team. All they do is win games and cover point spreads. Yeah, it was a brutal beat. It was a smart quarterback. Dugan on the 4th and 1 with the offside just takes a shot at the end zone because he has one.
Yeah.
Instead of just taking the first down and taking a knee, and they'd have won by 3. And they ended up winning by 10. But TCU keeps doing stuff like that. They keep covering numbers. Why do we want to step in front of this team?
Teddy, that's actually a great point by a very astute handicapper, and that's the reason I'm talking about it with you on WagerTalk Today, and it's not on my client card. So that's a great point. I don't like stepping in front of teams on really good runs, but hey, it was one of those games I got circled. The dog might be barking, but it's not one I'm going, 4 digits deep in my personal account betting against them. So that's a good point, Teddy.
Drew Martin, everybody. Guys, Drew has a 5% play up tonight for Monday Night Football. 5% is the highest rated play we have at the website. It is only $9 as it's $9 Mondays. Drew is 83% in NFL 5% plays over the last year and a half. Way to go, dude. Anything else?
No, I've been seeing it well in the NFL. NFL opening line report coming up at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Guys, with all due respect to WagerTalk Today, all the other good programs on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, Bet on It and the like. My favorite, I think our best show that we're producing right now is the NFL opening line report. If you like betting the NFL, mark down 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific on Mondays. Teddy covers one of the best in the business. He breaks it down. I've learned a lot as a sports bettor. You can get out in front of a lot of these moves. So it's coming up next, guys, right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Come check it out.
Awesome stuff. Daniel, it's time for the daily presidential address. Let's go. Last week, we ended Friday 3-1 in the presidential address, including a plus 150 dog with the Vancouver Canucks. The whole week, we went 10-5. And now we're going to start a new week. I got 3 bets for you guys. Before we get into that, I just want to make mention, guys, I am in absolute must-play mode. I'm up in NHL. I got 3 NHL bets tonight. It's only $9. My first 3-pack of the season. I'm 63% to start the NBA season. I got 3 NBA bets tonight. 3, all $9, and I'm killing it in baseball on a 5-1 run in the playoffs. I have 1 baseball bet up for you guys. It's also $9. Okay, let's get into it. I like the Cleveland Browns tonight. I like them at plus 3.5. There are 3.5s out there. I love teams in these division games. I want the running team that's a dog. I feel like Cleveland can slow this game down. I think Nick Chubb will go over in rush yards. I like Cleveland plus the 3.5. But full disclosure, I'm not betting this game. I don't like Cleveland enough to lay what Drew Martin called 4 digits of his bankroll on this game. I lean on Cleveland. I like the Milwaukee Bucks tonight, minus the 13 points. And I like Philadelphia and Washington over the total in the NBA. That's it for this show. Teddy, my brother, I'm having a sub for lunch. Take us home.
Sure, that's going to wrap it for the Monday edition of WagerTalk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games, and good luck tonight.
Boo! Yes, it's the final week of October, which means we have the World Series, college football, the NFL, NHL action, the NBA, UFC, soccer, and let's not forget about that college basketball right around the corner. Since we're almost obliged to have a Halloween commercial, let's make it a scary good one. Until midnight on October 31st, no costume is required to get a 31% discount on 1 all-access package of your choice at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo using coupon code BOO31 at checkout. This coupon will save you over $12 on a 1-day all-access that includes any 5% plays. And it'll also save you over $18 off a 3-day all-access. Or why not go big and save over $90 off a 30-day all-access? Or perhaps take over business for the next year by saving over $600 with a 12-month all-access package. Coming out to just $3.77 per day for the next 365 days. Coupon code BOO31 expires at midnight on Halloween. But remember to use it wisely, as this coupon can only be used once at WagerTalk and once at Sports Memo. From my friend and I, happy Halloween.